Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And boy, it has been a wild ass month. So, if you're wondering where I was or what I was doing, well, I'm going to give you the non NDA version because the NDA version, well, it probably cost me more money than I want. So, we're just going to talk generically. And, yeah, so I apologize for being away. I think I'm going to hopefully publish, or at least my goal is to publish a video every day this week, maybe every other day, something like that, covering things like SH50, lots of gossip, and new heroes, and geez, excuse me, a hiccup, everything that I have missed for the past month because, well, there's been a lot of shit moving around, and yeah. So let's get the gossip out of the way first. What's happening? Well, you guys know that I ran out of money when I was trying to build my game. Yep, no surprise there. That's not news. Well, I tried other things and other things and other things, and I finally came to the conclusion that, well, I might have to get a job. Dun dun dun. Yeah. I mean, shit. Just it happens. You guys don't know much about me, but let's just say that, it was to that point of like, okay, well, you got to do what you got to do. And so interviews, 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 and I met this company, and the person who I was interviewing with, they seemed like they were cool people, and I told them, I said, look, I'm less focused on about the money, and I'm more interested in just working with really cool people because, I mean, if you're going to work somewhere for a long time, I have no interest in getting paid a lot of money to be miserable. It's just not my thing. I don't see myself doing it, and it just doesn't resonate with me. And that seemed cool. However, day one, here's the story. So this person should know logically that I am a software person. Okay, I can deal with low-level software, like literally instruction level stuff. This is just my background, not that interesting. But suffice to say, software side of things. I do not do hardware. Day one, what's my title? I am the project manager of hardware. Jesus, facepalm, right? The second thing that I'm warned about is that the person who is going to be reporting to me, at least one of them, is, air quotes, one of the most challenging people in the entire company. And yeah, this isn't really jiving with the whole I want to work with cool people thing. And it's not really like my background. All right, so you're going to pay me, well, I'll be honest, it was a lowball offer. But hey, if you're hungry, you're hungry. So if you're going to pay me this, and it's not what I'm known for, and it's working with people that are apparently like, a giant ass headache, like, what the is this? Like, huh? And so, okay, my bad. I haven't worked for another company in a while, and I didn't really, ask the smart questions like, hey, who am I going to be working with and managing, and can I meet them before I can sign this contract? None of the smart things. So, again, noob mistake. So I'm starting out. It's like, okay, well, let's make the best of this. And it turns out that the person who was this really difficult person that a lot of people didn't like ended up being the smartest person in the company. Literally, the smartest, most hardworking person in the company was a person that people didn't like. And the reason that they did not like him, I'm just going to take a step in the dark here, is because he was smarter than all these dumb fucks. And yeah, it's like plot twist. So, I mean, it was kind of working out. I got to vent to this person about how stupid everybody else was around me, and he could relate because, well, he's been suffering in the same stupid ass environment. And I think I'm not the only one in life who, well, has experienced this before. And that's why I'm sharing this with you guys. And hopefully you can laugh at my story. But wait, there's more. So working with stupid people, I mean, you just got to expect it. You know that when you're going to get a job in any sort of company that's basically ran by morons, right? That's just how it goes. I had low expectations. I knew the guy was probably putting crayons in his nose before bed, but whatever. And yeah, so let's just say I didn't have any respect for my boss. Move forward a little bit. I ended up finding out that the hardware actually has a very high error rate in it. There's things that happen on the hardware, like the PCB boards end up getting hot and warping either during the manufacturing process or just their usage. And when it warps, chips pop up, intermittent things happen, things like that. So there's this. Then I also found out that they're aware of chips overheating on the circuit board, which causes intermittent failures and just bad things to happen. Okay, so my first question is this fixed? Well, nobody had an answer for me. It's like, that's cool. And they did end up switching manufacturers. They haven't actually officially signed a contract for it yet. And when they do, I guess it was going to be available in 3 months. But this doesn't necessarily handle the 70,000 devices that have been shipped to customers already. Okay, well, that's interesting. So you have probably 30% of these 70,000 devices which are potentially defective, causing intermittent problems for customers. You think to yourself, that's not so great. Week one, and the new role has passed, and all this wonderful news is evolving. And yeah, so you're sitting back and you're thinking to yourself, I'm talking third person here. So I'm sitting back and thinking to myself, like, this isn't going so well. And these guys are really like on the edge of being like a really bad company. But wait, there's more. So, I mean, it's not like you can have all of these defective devices and not have support issues. So I start getting introduced to the land of, oh shit, there is a bunch of support issues. And yeah, how is it being handled? Well, here's the fun part. So my boss, he's constantly having to basically battle with customers, in order to blow smoke up their ass. And I didn't know this obviously in the first week, but I mean, starting the second week, I'm starting to see this visible, and I'm getting details from other people about how the product is basically defective. And he was screaming at me for like a software fix. Okay. So, I mean, I had to, figure out a firmware roadmap, and that's software on top of hardware. Okay. And really asking me, like, is it their fault or is it our fault? And when I started replying back, like, this is probably our fault. By our fault, I meant the company I was working for. And you're basically lying to customers, and I can't, in any possible realm of anything, imagine that you wouldn't actually know this already. Like, how could this person not possibly know that? I mean, he's pretty fucking stupid, but it would have really had to been just like epically stupid to not realize this after have been like the CTO for 2 years. So yeah, I saw the communication between the customer, and at that point, it really felt like they'd crossed a line. Like, this is not just like a company selling some stuff that should be RMA'd and isn't, but they're actively basically lying, or it's just pure and simple, just consumer fraud or business fraud, because it's consumers aren't buying it. But it's just fraud. It's just basically lying, and they're just trying to blow smoke up the customer's asses so that they don't have to have 20,000 or 30,000 devices RMA'd. And yeah, and at that point I was like, what the is going on? I mean, there's just, whoa, this is beyond what I can tolerate. And wait, there's more to this story. You guys are going to love this. So I freaked out, like internally, because I actually have some ethics. Like, seriously, like on a professional level, I'm actually really ethical. I mean, I come on YouTube and I talk shit, and you guys never see the business side of me, but business, I am really like, I work my ass off. I work hard. I try and get stuff done, and I'm just 100%, like, company guy. I just toe the line. And so I'm saying this, I'm just like, whoa, this is too much. What am I going to do about it? Here's where it gets even better. I mean, this story just keeps evolving. So the CTO is married to the CEO. I already knew this before I started. I was like, this is some hillbilly shit, but whatever. I mean, whatever, Bob's your uncle. So I couldn't actually report my boss to the CEO because there's a conflict of interest there. I mean, like, what the heck is going to happen? Oh, honey, yeah, and by the way, can you pass me the noodles? And that employee that you recruited, yeah, he's saying that you've been defrauding customers. That we can't be doing that. I mean, like, how is that going to have it? What kind of conversation is that going to be? So I did the next logical thing. I went onto LinkedIn and I connected with the former CEO. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have to report these people to the board. I don't, like, I'm at the point where I legitimately think that if became public information, that there would be some like serious backlash. And so, I want to protect customers. I want to protect the company. And these two idiots, the CEO and the CTO, they got to go. Like, there is no part of me that can actually look at this and legitimately think this is okay. None, zero. Somebody has to be told what's going on here, because like anybody with half a brain would do something. And so I connected with the former CEO on LinkedIn, and I was just going to ask him, like, hey, you have worked with the board before. How do I approach them? Who do I email? Who will actually give a shit? Like, just asking some general questions, because strategy. I didn't have to tell him the exact situation. He probably could have guessed it himself, because he was probably part of the problem 2 years before. But barring all of this, just general questions. So I connected with him on LinkedIn. We had like a lunchtime call. So it was like my lunch break. I called him up. We just chit-chatted for a minute. He didn't tell me anything useful, right? Nothing. The guy was completely and totally tight-lipped. I'm sure, 100% certain, and we're going to get to the story in a minute, that when he left, he had to sign some evil-ass papers in order to get paid. We'll get to that in a minute. He's a pussy, by the way. Not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy, but he's a pussy. And so he wasn't helpful. But then I went back, and I'm like sitting there frustrated. I wasn't anywhere in a better position to create a strategy in order to actually solve this problem by reporting these two assholes. Actually, multiple people that were involved in this. And so I talked to another C-level executive at the company, and I said, hey man, this guy is incompetent, like to a negligence level. And he's married to the CEO. What do you do? And it was just kind of a flippant thing. I mean, I was so frustrated at this point that it was just basically a joke. So I just, did it in a comical humor. And I felt like I had a rapport with this person that I could vent a little bit. It wasn't 30 seconds after the phone call dropped that the CEO emails me or sends me a message on Teams and says, you're needing to talk to me ASAP. And I'll be honest with you guys. This isn't game content at all. This is way the heck outside of game content. But I'm just trying to give you, some background on what's been going on for the last month and where I've been, and maybe or maybe not you care. And so it wasn't 30 seconds after that phone call. That dude ratted me out so fast, it wasn't even funny. And the funniest thing is that I had been like busting my ass in order to make his job easier. So, I mean, it would have been in his interest to not do that. But at the same time, he's got a dick to suck. And so, anyway, so he ratted me out. The CEO was just pissed because, I mean, obviously she knew what was happening, and she knew her husband was a piece of shit, basically defrauding customers. So they all know this. And the other C-level guy, he knows this too. And, it's like they all just get a paycheck from this company, and they don't actually care about the company. They don't care about the customers. They don't care about anything. It's just they're just slime. And so I was going to expose all of them. Obviously, slime can't have this. They had to get rid of me. So it wasn't like maybe 30 minutes later that I got a phone call and I was immediately terminated. I knew this was coming. Like I knew it was coming. If I reported them to the board and the board said anything to these idiots, I was just going to lose my job. I knew it. This is plain and simple. And so I didn't mind. I accepted this fact. I figured, I'm either going to do the ethical thing, or I'm going to just sit back, keep my mouth shut, and do the thing in order to do a paycheck. And I said, no, I'd rather die poor. I can't live with it. It's just not what I'm going to do. So they fired me. I got all the emails for the board. I wrote my email. It was all factual. There was nothing, there was no indulgence of nothing. Just, it was pure point by point facts of all the things that I felt that they were doing. And I had the evidence, and I, just said, look, this is this. Went down the list. I sent the email. Poof, done. Moving on with my life. I did what I could, and that was it. So let's say some time skips by. I'm obviously back hunting for a job again because I'm jobless and homeless. And so, skip ahead. And I knew already in my gut that they weren't going to pay me not one red cent. I knew it. I mean, you don't piss off the CEO of a company and just expect everything to be all hunky-dory after that. Just not happening. So, that was going to put my budget, behind for the month, and it was going to be, it's going to make my life challenging. And I just started to just rebalance everything as much as I could, just hunker down as much as I could, and just try and figure out how I could make this work, because it went from, oh shit, I'm going to have some income to basically no income. And this prior weeks that I've worked, I'm not going to get paid for it. So I sent my final invoice, because technically I was a contractor. So technically I was a contractor. So I sent my final invoice, or what I thought was going to be from my final invoice. And, I said, hey, but there was no acknowledgement on it. Nothing at all. There was nothing friendly, not a single peep out of these pieces of shit. Again, not unexpected. There's nothing here that like magically this ethical company becomes this magically great company for this person who's going to blow the whistle on them. No. So you have that. And then yesterday, day before, anyway, whatever, very recently, they emailed me. Basically, they were 10 days late on paying me, but they emailed me at the end of the month. I don't know, maybe they thought that, anyway, so whatever. So they emailed me at the end of the month, and I'll try and keep this wrapped up here and short. They emailed me at the end of the month, and they said, okay, we're ready to release payment for you. We need you to sign this amendment to your contract. I said, huh? And the amendment to the contract, it was such bullshit. They actually found a lawyer to write this in the most clever way. I should put this in the description of this video. The most clever wording you could ever write this. And in this really, really vague, roundabout way. It was like, one, you agree that you've already been compensated for everything, something, something, something. But I knew, just by reading this just tricky, really clever lawyer language, that if I signed that, it was going to instantly mean that I've already been compensated for everything, right? And that they didn't owe me anything. So that was the first point. The second thing is that there was an anti-disparagement clause in it, right? So I knew at that point that they were freaked out. So there was this anti-disparagement clause in it. And then the third point was, like, our original contract, it had a one-line confidentiality. It was like, don't disclose our confidential information. Done. Literally one line. And the contract, because like before, he seemed cool, I seemed cool, why have a big complicated agreement? Just something simple between gentlemen. And that's essentially what we started out with. This new thing that was addended, it was like 4 paragraphs long of some, like, they must have hired a lawyer in order to actually, like, pin down all the little points that they would have been worried about having be disclosed about their company. So it was like, we basically don't have to pay you. Don't disparage us, and confidentiality. And if you break any 3 of these terms, we're going to sue you. You're going to be liable. And then we don't have to pay you. And so I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm signing this. First of all, they're not honoring the original agreement. Why would they honor me an addendum if they actually had any intention of paying me at all, which I don't actually believe to be true. So you're not honoring the first agreement. You're not going to honor the second agreement. And then I'd be bound by all these extra terms. Duck that. Like, you can eat a dick. And so obviously I can't say names. And hopefully you guys can't figure this out, right? Like, don't figure it out. It'll get me in trouble. So please just enjoy the story. So yeah, this is basically what's been going on. And do I want to play King of Avalon in the middle of all this? Yeah, I could probably find some time. It was just, yeah, it just wasn't the right moment. So there you go. This is the giant reveal of what I've been doing, basically for September. And to go back to it, when I was working there, I worked 100%. Like, there wasn't like a moment that I wasn't dedicated. I was actually really legitimately either learning or trying to get things done or helping people. I was doing all those 3. And so, yeah, I just finished the day, and a couple of days I worked until like 3 a.m. in the morning just doing research, because I really wanted to try and help solve some of the problems that I started seeing. Like, you can bitch and cry about like problems and say, okay, the hardware's bad. Maybe there's a software solution. Maybe there's a firmware workaround. And if there was something that was going to be possible, I was going to find it, because it would have helped the consumers or the customers. So, I went at it. I was 100%, putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to for the last month. And there's more videos coming. So, you know, you guys are going to enjoy this week. And yeah, so hopefully maybe a video every day or every other day, something like that. But to close this out, if you've actually listened to this entire video, again, we go back to like advice and the game. And if I can close this out, SH50 is going to be expensive. You know, the new heroes are going to be expensive. All this game is expensive. Please go buy some Amazon coins. You know, I don't actually get anything if you buy it or not. It doesn't actually impact me. There's no like magical link in the description that I like get commissions or anything like that. I promise you, the more you buy, it doesn't help anybody but you. So, having said that, love you guys, and hopefully you missed me, and hopefully you enjoyed this long ranting ass video. I don't know if I feel any better about it, but maybe you enjoyed this story. So, again, love you guys, and that's it. Bye-bye for now.